For road race wheel sets, do you want something that is lightweight to help you up steep hills like Heartbreak Hill here in New Mexico, or do you want something that is aerodynamic that will give you more speed for the same watt output? For Cadex, with its new Aero 50 disc wheel set, the answer is yes. As in, Cadex designed its wheels to be both lightweight at under 1,400 grams and aero. They say that this new 50 set, 50 mil deep rim is faster than its 65 mil wheels. It says it's also faster than comparable wheels from Roval, from Bontrager, and from ENVE. I want to tell you about the details of this new wheel set that is launching today. I also want to talk about my experience with them as far as what it's like getting tires off and on the tubeless wheels, what it was like to race here at the Masters Nationals Road Championship outside Albuquerque, New Mexico on this Heartbreak Hill, which was 13% pitch and quite a pivotal point of the race. And I want to talk about how this wheel set compares to others in the 50 mil range. So let's talk numbers, weights, prices, aerodynamic claims. This Cadex Aero 50 set comes in at a claimed 1,349 grams. I weighed them with the installed rim strips and valves at 1,380 grams. That is well under the 1,400 gram plus mark where you'll see the Roval wheels, ENVEs and Bontragers and Shimanos all in the 50 or thereabouts rim depth. So a wheel that is super fast and super light. What's the catch? Well, as you may guess, it is not cheap. This set of bad boys comes in at $3,500, which is well over the $2,700 to $2,800 mark for the Roval, the ENVE, the Bontrager. The Shimanos are the cheapest of the batch at about $2,000 for this set. Some other numbers, rim dimensions. In addition to being 50 mil tall, these have a 22.4 millimeter inner, going in the trend of wider is better for your tire contact patch. Cadex recommends a 25 mil tire. We'll talk more about those tires in a minute. The outer rim is also plump. This is a 30 mil outer rim, not quite as big as the 30.7 on the Rovals, where the rim sticks out well wider than the tire, but definitely a big wide rim. The idea is that you want a smooth airflow from the tire down along the rim. And that is part of what Cadex says makes these wheels faster than their deeper 65 wheels. Typically, a deeper wheel means a faster wheel. A couple other changes in the 50s from the 42s and the 65s that make these wheels faster. The bladed carbon spokes are a deeper blade. It's also where some of the weight savings come from over a metal spoke. The hub is smaller. Again, the smaller the profile, typically the faster the wheel is, so Cadex has done that there. At the rear, you've got 40 teeth of engagement and ceramic bearings. Much like Roval with Specialized, Bontrager with Trek, and Reserve with Cervelo, Cadex is Giant's brand. And like all those other bike brands, Cadex is making a point of trying to distinguish itself from its parent company, which I think is strange because Giant is such, as its name implies, a massive leader in carbon manufacturing, producing not only its own bikes, but bikes for some of its competitors. Very few bike brands actually make their own carbon bikes. Giant makes its own bikes and its wheels. I think that should be a point of pride, not a point of separation. In any event, Giant and Cadex are not asking me my opinions about their marketing strategy, and Cadex is very much pushing ahead with high-end, high-zoot, performance at any cost, damn the torpedoes mentality. You may have seen Christian Blumenfeld's crazy-looking triathlon bike at the Ironman World Championships, which he won this year, and that same sort of philosophy applies to the wheels, which is let's make the absolute fastest product we can. Wheels that are fast in a wind tunnel are all fine and good, but turns out it's the whole package of things that determines what your aero-drag is. It's how the wheels interact with the frame. Of course, there's the big chunk of meat sitting on top of the bike, and then there's how the tire and the wheel interact. Cadex designed its own tires. This is a new Cadex Aero, specifically for use with the Cadex wheels. Cadex is calling it the wheel system. The tire is a 170 TPI casing, weighs up at 290 grams here and a 25 mil width. 25 mil by current modern standards is still a little on the skinny side. We're seeing a lot of racers and everyday riders like the feel of a 28. Cadex, after a lot of time in the wind tunnel, determined that if you're going for the ultimate speed in terms of aerodynamics, the 25 is the way to go. Unlike some tubeless wheels and or tires that come with a very low maximum inflated pressure rating, Cadex pegs these at 70 to 115 PSI. I'm 185 pounds or so, and I ran these at 80 PSI, and that feels like it's still soft enough where I've got some grip, but I'm not sagging down and feel like I'm losing speed. So what do these Cadex Aero 50s feel like to ride? A couple of distinct impressions right off the bat as soon as I got them mounted up. One, the acceleration is instantaneous. A lot of wheel specs, yes, you can measure them on a scale or in a wind tunnel, but they're hard to differentiate in terms of feel once you're out on the road. The acceleration is absolutely noticeable. I think that's a combination of, that's due to a combination of the light rim weight and how stiff the spokes are. When you stand up to accelerate, whether on the flats for a sprint or trying to grind up this steep climb here at Heartbreak, the acceleration is gratifyingly quick. Another thing that is very hard to miss is yes, I realize you can't hear me over the sound of the hub, and that's often the case just coasting along, doing rides here with friends in Albuquerque. There were many jokes made of like, I'd love to hear what you have to say, Delaney, but I can only hear your hub yelling at me. That sound, beauty is in the eye and the ear of the beholder. Some people would think that sounds cool and fast and high performance. Some people might think that sounds overly aggressive, but in any event, it is not a quiet hub. So that's absolutely something to keep in mind if you're looking to buy this wheel set. I found the tires and wheels to indeed function like a system. It was relatively easy to get the tires on by hand. I used a little soap suds to get them to seal, but didn't need a tire lever to put them on. Aired them up without sealant just to do the test that I do, which is how good is the seal without sealant. Sealed up just fine. I rode them for a few days with no sealant in there. Of course, I put sealant in for racing and riding, but I think that's a mark of a good system and that it's airtight without sealant. Running the wheels with a 25 mil tire, I was concerned they were going to feel a little harsh, both because of how stiff laterally the wheel is for that acceleration, but also because a 25 mil tire is not as plush or cushy just by definition of physics than a 28 or 32, which is what I've often been riding, if not a 40 or 45 mil tire on gravel bikes. So yes, it's not as plush as a fatter tire, but at the same time, I felt just fine riding this, not just on nice smooth roads, but on some of the brutally rough chip seal that was on the course here at Masters Road Nationals. One stretch on Frost Road in particular was almost like baby cobbles. It was very rough, and you could feel the energy being sapped out for sure from the rolling resistance on the road. But it was nice to have a supple tire soaking up some of that. And Cadex, to its credit, doesn't focus exclusively on lab rolling resistance on a smooth drum, because we don't ride on smooth drums. We ride on a variety of road surfaces. So can I quantify how it feels? No, but I can say it felt like a good race tire that wasn't just pinholed as a track tire, but is well suited for riding a variety of surfaces. To return to the lightweight versus aero setup, the course here for Masters Road Nationals exemplifies why not only Cadex, but we recreational bike racers want to have our cake and eat it too. Because in this 31-mile loop, there was a lot of rollers, there was headwind, there's tailwind, like the normal things you experience in a bike race, but there was also this beast of a climb, Heartbreak Hill, which after a 6-mile run-in, there is a stretch of about 0.4 miles that averages 13%. It took me 3 minutes to get to the top of that, doing more than 440 watts on average up and over the top. So very hard, very steep, and aerodynamics ain't got nothing to it. It's just all about your power to weight, and your weight includes not just your body, of course, but your bike. So having a light bike on this part was key, but then once over, you wanted to have the most aero setup you could. So built up with this high zoot specialized S-Works Tarmac SL7, the whole package weighs like 15.4 pounds. So that's a pretty sweet deal. The bike and the wheels were not what was holding me back going up the hill. So in sum on the wheel set, turns out I do not own a wind tunnel. So I can't tell you how these wheels compare to the others, and whether or not Cadex's claims about aerodynamic superiority over its competitors are true. To me, they feel like a good, fast aero wheel. You know, in the race, a few times I could tuck and coast up to some riders. Most of that, honestly, is weight, but they certainly don't feel slower than other wheels like the Rovals or the ENVEs or the Shimanos that I've ridden. So just as far as like a gut check feel, yeah, they're aero wheels. As far as the lightweight and acceleration, that is something I can sense for sure, especially that initial acceleration of a split second or so. How does that affect the overall big picture? That's debatable, but the feelings and sensations are valuable and a part of why we ride bikes and enjoy nice toys. How you doing? Keith Bontrager is widely credited with the saying of the three things: strong, light, cheap. Pick two. Here, you've got something similar of aero, light, cheap. Pick two. And Cadex has very much gone with the first two.